Hey, how's everybody doing today? Just thought I'd do a nice little reveal on the car I ended up just buying. So let's take a look. Alrighty, so here she is. It's a 2003 Lexus is300. It only has 150 on the clock. And not only that, it's actually the sport design, which is actually really hard to find. And it's in the onyx black. The sport design features ambered lights, like the actual housing is actually darker than the actual non-sport design, as well as the rear taillights are also have a darker housing. They're not as chromy as the originals, as well as black chromium badges in the back. It also came with the sport design also comes with the gray leather interior with the dark piping. This car literally looks like an old grandma's car, 100%. And yes, it's an automatic. This is literally the first automatic I've ever owned in my entire life. But that's okay because I already bought a manual swap for it. So the car has a couple of small minor issues. One being that this fender is kind of punched in there a little bit, like quite good. So I gotta fix that. Also, these are the stock sport design rims too. They went to an 11 spoke instead of the 5 spoke on the bases. Other than that, it's pretty clean. It comes also, the sport design also has this low cut spoiler at the rear. Now the paint has seen better days. There's quite a few scratches, if you can see that, and that's literally after I cut and buffed it, because I can't go any deeper, else I'm gonna literally go through the clear. It's like this guy literally used to rake his snow off with an actual leaf, or with an actual rake for leaves. It's pretty substantial. But honestly, I've wanted one of these cars for a long time, like a long time. It's a lot older than my FRS, that's for sure. It's the first thing you notice when you get into it. But the weird thing is driving this thing, it literally feels better than my FRS did, and it's 20 years older. So, not 20 years older, but almost. The interior is actually nice and clean. No rips or tears in any of the leather. It also has this gray grain stick-on garbage that I've already started to remove from the car. Literally no stains on the back carpets at all. Like, it's literally clean. Like, no one ever literally sat in the back seat. Now, I'll be getting rid of the beige seats or the tan seats or the gray seats, whatever color you want to call them. Eventually, I'm going to redo these suede inserts with a different material, and I'm also going to get a black carpet so that I can swap out this gray carpet for a black one, make it look a little bit darker. Possibly do some black suede on all the pillars, possibly the roof liner. Now, if anybody that knows the is300 knows that this car comes with an NA2J, literally. Not very often do you see a cable throttle anymore. I was gonna buy a second gen is300 or an is250, but they have absolutely no balls, and you can only get the 250 in stick. And to be honest, I just wanted to go back to my original days of the early 2000s, 90s. I, for some reason, just can't seem to get rid of this era. I'm not 100% sure why. Yeah, I got big plans for this thing though. It's definitely not going to be like the FRS. I'm not wide bodying this. I'll probably never wide body a daily driver again. You can expect some power to be put into this thing. That's about the only hint that anybody's going to get. Also, I'm not putting this car on bags. For anybody that's wondering, This car will not be put on bags. I will never buy bags for a car again unless that car is specifically and strictly for car shows, just to drive from there to the car shows. Like, bags aren't worth it for me. I'm not sure if anybody has ever heard of air cups or anything like that. That's about the furthest I would ever go towards air ever again. But it's just not worth it to me. I'm probably just gonna drop it on some coils. And we'll see where she goes from there pretty much. Definitely need to get these windows tinted, possibly a front strip. But no, like, I'm excited, I must say. I'm definitely excited for this thing. Fire it up. It's funny too, because the main reason I literally wanted this car was just for the motor. And this motor is probably coming out, to be honest. When I picked this car up, there was literally pools of engine oil in the engine bay. And I asked Buddy, I go, so the motor's leaking quite a bit, eh? And he goes, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from. I haven't been able to figure it out. I asked him straight up, I go, have you ever replaced the timing belt and water pump? He goes, no, never did that. And I'm like, man, can you not see all the oil literally coming out around the water pump right there? Like, the most oil I've ever seen in my entire life in an engine bay, hands down. So I already have some plans made out for what I'm gonna do with that situation, but realistically, it still runs strong. It's funny because this car literally does not have a single modification to it. It is literally bone stock, and trying to find a bone stock is300 is nearly impossible. Not to mention, it's hard to find them without them being completely rotted out. And for anybody who saw my Instagram story, as you can see, this car is immaculate underneath. No rust, no nothing, no garbage. Probably the cleanest I have seen. Like, I literally looked at every single is300 that was for sale in Ontario. Every single one. Except for one that was a manual and way overpriced for the kilometers it had. I don't know what Buddy was thinking, but just wondering why his car isn't selling. That's probably exactly why. But out of all of the cars that I went and looked at, this had the cleanest body. Hands down. It was also stock, and I am actually the third owner of this car. The guy who I bought it off of actually owned it for 13 years, so that's a big plus. It's funny because trying to find a car that A, had low owners, B, is in good shape, C, was actually taken care of. For an is300 like this is literally a steal. And then on top of that, I literally got this car for $2,800 Canadian. He was asking $4,500 for it. I talked him down to $3,500. He then talked himself down to $3,000. Then the day that I went to go pick it up, I asked him if he'd take $2,800, and he had no hesitation saying, yeah, I'll take $2,800. And I brought her home. So the build should commence on this, or at least start slowly within the next week or so. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, see what happens with this thing. Take it easy.